I stay there until I get what I want. It's hard for people to take you serious, and it's hard, basically even harder, when you're telling them that you want them to help a cause.
The American dream, to be a success in life and in business. What vision did Danielle Lewis have to find her niche in life and get what she wants? We find out today on Visions.
In this classic 1928 Long Beach, California building is a woman who saw an area in the field of marketing research that hadn't yet been explored. With her insight, drive, and passion for children, she created a company called A Perfect Plan for Life. Let's meet Danielle Lewis.
Basically, I was in the music business looking for something with a lot less travel. So I started working for a local firm in the area, which happened to be one of the top firms in the country. I became real dissatisfied with the fact that traditionally research is conducted by including the opinions of 90% Caucasian. So I began a multicultural research firm to include the minority sector. The name of the firm started out as A Perfect Plan. A perfect plan meaning to go about things in a way that is going to make it better. And what we felt like is in research, they were not encompassing the opinions of everyone. So we wanted to encompass the opinions of all people, minority or not, in research. And so it began as A Perfect Plan.
How did that develop into the current specialty?
What we decided is that we were kind of dissatisfied with the fact that companies utilize research but don't utilize the information. So what we wanted to do is not only do research but take the information and do something with it. So we decided to redirect the company into children's research and to not only do research but to develop products and services as well that will assist in helping the problems that we uncover. So our company decided that we wanted to make a difference. We didn't want to just do research. We wanted to use that research and be able to take the information that we've learned and do more with it. So we became A Perfect Plan for Life. And so that company is geared towards not only conducting research, but also taking the research and developing products and services primarily for children. When you're walking into corporate America asking a lot of men in ties to help out your cause, you're looked upon as, you know, a weeping woman in a sense. So it's a lot harder to get that recognition, and it's a lot harder also being an African American woman to get that recognition. It's hard for people to take you serious, and it's hard, basically even harder, when you're telling them that you want them to help a cause. And so it becomes a challenge, for sure. In dealing with them, it's very difficult to get them to understand the importance of the cause versus the bottom line.
How do you overcome that?
By staying there and actually demonstrating how important it is to me and how important it is to them. And eventually you get what you want. My family has been the reason for doing this. As a mother of 3, of course, I love my children. And being able to redirect this research, for me, gives them tools to better parent their children as they get older. My adopted mother and my biological mother both died. And for me, this is a way of being able to carry on the things that they instilled in me. My adopted mother was a visionary in a sense that one of her biggest goals was to help children worldwide. And so recently I lost her 2 years ago, and I decided to take her visions and to include them in what I'm doing to be able to satisfy the things that she started. Right now, our company is prepared to launch one of the first products that came about as a direct result of our research. It's called Tell Mommy, and it is a board game and crime prevention tool geared towards empowering and educating children. The game itself is called Tell Mommy. It's a board game, but it also is a learning tool and crime prevention tool. And what it does is it educates and empowers children in terms of being able to help themselves in everyday situations.
Tell us about Tell Mommy.
My adopted mother had actually developed the game back in '83. And at some point she passed the game along to me, and I began development in terms of research and modifying the game and changing the game as well. And it was our plan to launch the game in an effort to provide more services for children.
The story of going from marketing research to product development was so interesting that we decided to extend our stay with Danielle Lewis and hear a little bit more about her board game, Tell Mommy.
The original product was in development in 1983, and it did not hit the market. And when I came into working with the game, my mother actually gave it to me before she died. And I then began doing some modifications and doing some testing and qualitative research, both about abuse and about the game itself and the use of the game. It's a board game, but it also is a learning tool and crime prevention tool. And what it does is it educates and empowers children in terms of being able to help themselves in everyday situations. We did research both with child abuse and with board games before actually completing the modifications of the game. During the process, we interviewed children nationwide, mothers nationwide, organizations nationwide, in terms of being able to gather as much information about the problem as possible and to make sure that the tool was effective in all areas. The message being to first establish communication between parents and children, so that children feel like they have someone to turn to, someone that they can trust, someone that they can communicate the things that come across to them on a daily basis. And then second, to educate them to be able to assist themselves in situations that they find themselves in when they're not with their parents. I, being a mother of 3, decided that my focal point was to be able to give something for my children and to leave them with something later on. So I wanted to specialize in children's research to be able to affect change in their lives. And that was one of the reasons for being able to develop children's products and services. It gives the parents an opportunity to engage in conversation, comfortable conversation with their children about issues, sensitive issues such as child abuse. It gives parents an indicator if there is suspected abuse. And then as well, as the children are playing, then they also learn and are able to pick up on tips that help them.
Why do you feel it's so important?
Because saving our children is important. It's one of the things that people don't look at as a priority, but basically every child grows up to be an adult. And as a result of their childhood, it determines what purpose they're going to serve in life. And so that's why children are so important. The most fulfilling part about what I do is knowing that it's going to help my children and children worldwide. It feels good to me to know that their children will be a lot safer than my children were and than I was. And it feels good to me to know that I'm going to leave them with a tool that can be passed on for decades. We've gotten some support from nationwide law enforcement agencies, to which we're grateful, but we are definitely seeking some support from our local law enforcement agencies. Basically, what we're looking for is sponsorship. We're looking for corporate entities, large companies like Pepsi and McDonald's to step in and to sponsor the game and the cause itself. We want churches and organizations to utilize the game as a fundraiser so that they can raise money for their organization, but they can also place the product into the homes. We want to put it in the schools so that schools can raise money for books and for educational tools. Counseling organizations already are doing it. Companies that deal directly with abuse in children have been purchasing the game to be able to utilize as a tool for identifying child abuse.
You seem like such a visionary. What words of advice can you offer other women with their vision?
Definitely to hang in there and to persist. One of the biggest problems that I had coming into this is that so many people told me it couldn't be done, and so I didn't listen. And fortunately for me, I feel like that is definitely the key to success, persevering.
What's the future for Danielle?
The future holds so much. Again, we want to do a nationwide case study. We want to look into the effects of the solutions that we're putting in motion. We want to be able to gauge this for a 10-year span to make sure that it's going to be effective. And we want to develop new products, and we want to move into new areas of development. We want to go into media. Sky's the limit.
A desire to empower and educate children has led Danielle Lewis to a perfect plan for life.
The biggest fulfillment of what I do is helping children. I love my children, and I love knowing that I'm putting them in a position that keeps them safe. I love knowing that their friends are going to be safe. I love knowing that the things that we do exact change in their lives.